While the Ether story has gone in many different directions over the years, sometimes we take for granted bits of interesting lore from the past. Group 935's history is not only tied to World War II, as the organization actually continued to exist into 1946, almost a full year after Germany's unconditional surrender. There are plenty of conspiracies throughout the storyline about secretive Nazi wonder weapon programs after the war that could re-establish the final German Reich. There's Steiner with his Nova 6 program fleeing to the Arctic, hunting down Hitler's successor in Call of Duty Vanguard, and a Nazi zombie army waiting in the dark ether for Valentina to free them. While exploring Der Riese, one can find little clues about Group 935's purpose, and in particular, the hints at Germany's plan to retake Europe. Enter the map description of Der Riese. The giant is rising. Face the might of the Nazi zombies in their heartland. This is where it all began. This is where the master plan took shape. Is this where it all ends? Here they refer to a master plan, or in German, the GESAMTPLAN, as we'll see later. We can deduce pretty quickly that this involved using Group 935's research to create an undead army and creating teleporters to mobilize the army across Europe. Also, Die Glock fits in there somewhere. This lore was what kept people talking about zombies back in 2009, as they awaited Black Ops' release. Though a lot of what we will discuss today has probably already been deduced on the CODS forum, say 10 years ago. But over the years as the story has developed, Treyarch has left little breadcrumbs that give us a better idea of just what the master plan entailed, all the way up to, and even past, Tag der Toten, with the cut Group 601 projector images that recently came to light. This will be the first video in a trilogy of videos about the master plan, and in this series we want to paint a picture of just what each step of the plan may have been, and analyze the implications on the story at large. Let's start with an old, but gold, mystery. Group 601 and the Shadow Government. Group 601 is a mystery that has been talked about at length here on the CODS forums for years, with their first appearance being at a version of the Der Riese loading screen, of course. On first inspection, it could just be assumed that 601 was the original number of the group that occupied Der Riese, and Treyarch changed it at the last minute. However, we now know that Group 601 is a canon organization, and they seem to be the organization running the Kino facility's experiments. They are firmly a part of Germany's master plan to create an undead army and take over the world. I would propose that Group 601 was also operating out of Der Riese alongside Group 935. It also operates under even more secrecy than 935, with their work unbeknownst to even Richthofen. As the map description of Kino goes, battle the undead in this theatrical installment on zombies. New twists and clues could uncover the final plan. It's showtime.
Entry 741021! Perhaps this station will hold the key to the real goals of Group 935. I still do not trust my unconventional allies, but they are of great use to me. But I digress. Who would have thought the MDT was capable of time travel? How many stations does this group have? Where did that little girl disappear to? Only time will tell what new questions await us in this theater of the damned.
Despite being a prominent member of Group 935, and even being the person that Maxis entrusted with breaking the trust barrier and assisting in teleporter experiments, Richthofen did not know the full extent of what Group 935 and Group 601 within them was up to. He was, however, aware of the Shadow Chancellor of Germany. We discover in Tag der Toten that many months after the war is over in Europe, Group 935 is continuing to work for the German Chancellor.
Hopefully with proper 115 injections, we will be able to use these specimens to access the human mind. The Chancellor's undead army is on standby until we crack this crucial step. Log entry 1469, date August 28th, 1945. Dear Diary, progress continues on unlocking the human mind. If Germany hopes to continue their war, they need an undead army willing to obey orders. There's also been further interest in the Super Soldat program. The German Chancellor considers this of high interest. We have begun the cloning process. We will have to see what results we yield.
It should be noted that these recordings are dated several months after the death of Hitler and Germany's surrender. If we want to add another conspiracy to the pile, this Chancellor could be Hitler, or even his clone. But a more likely possibility is that this regards a new Chancellor, perhaps even one appearing in Call of Duty Vanguard, secretly leading a hidden shadow government. After the war, Group 935 continues to operate independently on the surface, managing to avoid total capture by Allied forces when they reclaimed Europe. But in the shadows is Group 601, which is still working for the remains of the German government and hiding. But from where? One possibility that comes to mind is the Nazi station encountered in the Black Ops multiplayer map Discovery. It is thought to take place in Neuschwabenland, an Antarctic territorial claim by Nazi Germany, which is a popular subject in conspiracy theories. When wandering around the map, one can discover the remains of two V-2 rockets, German wonder weapons, half buried in the ice. In one of the buildings, there is a broken window in a room, and when looking inside, there is a cage which looks like something broke out of it, destroyed the room, and leaped out of the window to escape. There's blood on the walls, and in another room, there's a bed soaked in blood with test tubes all around the room. Could this station have been abandoned following the escape of a disobeying undead army? But there are other possibilities. Let's get into some history. Operation Odessa was the codename that was given to the Nazi underground escape plan at the end of the Second World War, with the aim of facilitating secret escape routes. Most of these routes, often called rat lines, led to the isolated jungles of South America. One important detail about these rat lines is that conspiracy theorists believe that Die Glock was successfully transferred to South America, where development continued by escaped Nazi scientists. The main reason for this theory was the discovery of a series of mysterious buildings and bunkers deep in the Argentinian jungles. After finding swastikas etched on the walls, as well as German coins dating from the Nazi period, it is believed by some that this secret project was part of something that the Nazis were planning post-war. And looking at the size of this network, they were planning something big. So secret stations in Antarctica, hidden outposts in the South American jungle, perhaps even operations from a Nazi moon base. One thing is certain, planning and plotting in the shadows, the Chancellor was promised an undead army and super soldiers for the purpose of regaining a lost land in 1945, which we will talk about more in the next episode.